It's hot here, ladies and gentlemen. 4:05 Central Daylight Savings Time, PM. Here in Tennessee, it's about 95. I've got a zinc and penny here and a nail here, and I want to show you something here with this Deus 2. And this is an 11-inch coal. I looked at this a little yesterday with a 9-inch coal, and it behaves very similar, okay? Using this detector in the wild, some people may benefit from what they see in this video. And I've looked at the FAST program, but I'm not even going to use it. It seemed to behave very similar. I'm in the sensitive FT program, but now I've changed it. We're going to look at some different tones. Okay. Now I've got this thing, the sensitivity on 90, and reactivity is going to stay at 2. And the silencer's at 2, okay? Very usable settings on this machine, generally, okay? And I've got the ID blowed up on this machine. Coming down this barrel of this nail, okay? I want to show you what I'm in here first, okay? That's 3 tones. Let's just get out of that and go straight to full tones. Watch this. Watch this ID pop on this penny here. You see that? That's pretty close to the ID of that penny right there. Now I'm about, 5 inches above that nail. Okay? 2-way signal. Reactivity 2. You've seen that now. All I'm going to do is go in here and go to pitch tones. There people like pitch tones, okay? Now I don't have any notch in this program. I've got it dialed out, okay? Now watch pitch tones, what happens. And I've got iron tone off, okay? Iron volume is off. You see that ID? Now, so I got curious. You see the ID is coming in there. 7, 39, 8. All right, let's go back to full tones. We're going to come back to some other tones here. But first, I want to go back to full tones. Full tone. Look at there. Boom, boom, boom. Now, I've had a dime in this position on this machine. It's shield pop 89, okay? Because I just wanted to see, is this thing actually seeing that coin? Or, how good is it actually seeing it? So I switched coins with a higher conductor one, knowing what it reads. And yes, it reads higher. Okay, so you see that right there. So I can go in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going down here to notch, and I'm going to intentionally dial some notch in on this machine. Okay, so I'm going to run a notch on this thing all the way up to 81 or 82. There's 80. There's 82, okay? Now let's see what happens. But notice my ID sort of evades the window. There it comes on there. It comes in there every now and then, but I do get the tone. Okay? So I get the tone, but I don't get an ID every time, okay? So what I'll do is I'll go back in here and take this notch out real quick. That's all I'm going to do. I tell you what, we'll stop it there at 48, and let's see if that helps the ID. Okay, so that helped the ID. Okay, so notching it up there pretty close makes that ID a little shaky, okay? But anyway, I can run high notch on this machine, and get 2-way signal on that penny there. That's what I wanted you to see. Okay, so now I'm going to go in here. I'll leave the notch as is for right now. We're going to go over here to pitch tones. Okay. And you've seen what it ID'd before. Except this time I'm going to go in here and run a notch up to, we'll just use 81, okay? So I get one-way signal. I never do get two-way signal, okay? So it's seeing conductivity there evidently greater than 81, okay? But when I take the notch out, okay, that's going to enable the ID. I'll just stop it at 38 like I did the full tones. Let's see what the ID pops on this machine. So I still don't get any ID in pitch tones. Okay, I'm going to take the notch out. All right. Notch is gone. Notch is off. Tones are still at pitch. There's no bottle cap reject, okay? Okay, let's see what we get now when we sweep it. Now look at our ID. Look at that. There ain't no 85 or 84 in that window, is there? You see that? Now that's pitch tones, okay? Now, let's go over here. There's 5 tones. What's 5 tones do? Now there's no notch. Look at there. Same thing. All right. Now, if I come around over here, oh yeah, I hear that. I get to see the ID of that penny in that window or something real close, okay? But that way right there, nada. Okay, now we won't check all of them. 3 tones. So we don't get no penny ID in that window, nothing close, okay? Back to full tones. Let's see what happens. Look at that. Ain't that wild? So if you was trying to cherry pick a side or dig high conductors out of it, use some full tones might have a benefit. Now this is the latest version. Okay, as far as I know, 7.1 or whatever it is, 0.071. All right, you see that? Now, where that penny's laying with that nail right there. Now, watch this again now. Two-way signal. All right, now I'm going to delay sweeping. I'm going to sweep it. There's 85, 85, 85, 85. Okay, I'm going to turn this camera off. We'll slip that old Equinox over that right there. Now, I'm not going to touch that setup there and show y'all what we got here. Now, this is in reactivity 2. I'm going to show you the camera here, and I'm not pulling your leg. You see that in that camera there? Reactivity 2. So that's not a fast recovery speed. And I'm sort of showing this for a reason. Equinox 800 out here now, boys. This DS2 is turned off. Okay, there's no tricks here. Okay, part 1 is what we're going to look at. We may look at part 2 a little bit here. I'm going to noise cancel this, baby. I don't want no excuses. Okay. Now the ground balance is at 0. We're elevated above the ground about a foot, foot and a half. We're 50 tones, F20, speed 5, okay? You see that. Now let's see what happens here now. And you get to see that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that ID time out in the window there, okay? Now, the ID's timed out, and I'm going to come from left to right. And we do get a 19 ID, which I consider that acceptable. Okay, now the ID has timed out, and I'm going to come right to left. I'm going to come again, right to left. I'm going to come again. Don't get but one-way signal on that target, okay? That machine over there is giving me two-way signal using full tones and giving me ID both ways. Again, you know, this is the easy way. You know, nothing surprising there, okay? Now, we'll go over here first. We'll speed her up. Speed 6. Does that help us any? Don't think so. Speed 7. Don't think so. Speed 8. That's all I got. Okay, speed 8. Okay, now I'm going to tell you something. I got a hunch that detector right there is the only detector that's ever been made via left that'll give a two-way signal on that coin right there, and I did. Okay, I might be wrong. I ain't run them all. Okay, we're going to look at part 2 real quick. She's at 50 tones. Speed 6, F20. Let's see what we get here. So I get that heat cup coming back to the left, and then I'll turn the horseshoe button on. Okay, so I get negative ID coming right to left. Horseshoe button off. Okay. And speed 7. Still one-way signal. Speed 8. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn this camera off. There's one thing we want to check on this coin right here. I'm going to turn this Deus 2 back on. Let me horse around a little bit with the mono program, and let's just see. Is there a frequency on that machine that I can get at least a two-way hit on that coin, non-ferrous tone, okay? So, stand by.